What is going on, traders? A few things to talk about. It's going to be a quick but very serious video because what I'm about to say is pretty serious, and I imagine a lot of you are not going to take it well, or a lot of you are going to take it very well, depending on what direction you want the market to go in. Now, something interesting happened this morning in our Discord, and it could be the sign that a market crash slash correction is on the way. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, in our Discord this morning at around 9:35 Eastern, our Discord bot alerted to us that whales are loading up SPY puts. Now, what's significant about these puts is the strike and the total premium. And so you have a strike of 579, expiration February 21st, 2025, and then you have a total premium of 3.3 million. And so we go to quant data to make sure that whales are actually in these positions. And as you guys can see, whales are very much in this position. Now we see here this huge bearish spike that came in at around 9:33 a.m. Eastern. And we go down here, we see the date is January 29th, which was today. SPY, right? So we scroll up. Let me scroll up real quick. So SPY, February 21st, 2025, puts, and they were loaded up at around 603, 604 range. We didn't hit 604. I'm just giving you guys a range. And then they're all at the ask. And then as you guys can see here, we scroll over some more and we see the premiums. We got 400K premium, 300K premium, 100K premium, so on and so forth. The sentiment is bearish. And then here you see the different types of exchanges that are in these positions. And so you scroll down and the list goes on and on and on and on, right? And so the question is, what can cause this? And I had this discussion in the Discord, and we don't have another Fed meeting until March, right? So February, it could be a month of uncertainty. And I've been saying this in the past few videos that I am leaning bearish for the month of February. So this shouldn't be a surprise, right? And so that could be one reason that could cause this drop. Just a bunch of uncertainty. The market does not like uncertainty. Another thing is Apple earnings, and we'll get into that in a bit. But what I will say before we jump the gun, before we start going crazy, and I'm sure a lot of you are getting angry as I'm saying this, right? I don't know when it's going to happen. Okay, I want to make that clear. I don't know when it's going to happen. We can very much bounce and continue to head higher from here, right? We can just fill this gap all the way towards 609, 608 range, maybe 6010. I mean, not 6010, 610, and then maybe drop. Or we just head much higher all the way towards the 620s, 616, 614. You guys know I have a target of 614 if we do break previous highs again, or we just drop from here, right? And we just forget about this gap until the future. Now, what I will say in regards to the strike as far as 579 puts, I will say this much that it doesn't necessarily mean we have to head all the way below 579. We can easily just simply, fill this gap at 584 and then, bounce from there. Maybe we just do one of these moves, fill the gap at 584, whales take their positions, take profit or whatever, and then we head higher from there. It's very much possible, right? But again, I've been bearish for the month of February. I've been letting you guys know that I'm bearish for the month of February. We don't have any Fed meetings until March. And so I do think February is going to be a month of a lot of uncertainty. And so we talk about Apple earnings, right? I'm not saying Apple is going to tank for its earnings because I don't know. I'm not optimistic about their earnings. I will say that much. You guys know this. But Apple does have the potential to tank the market, right? And so we go to the daily time frame on Apple, and as you guys can see, we have a head and shoulders pattern. We have a shoulder here, head here, and we have a potential shoulder here. So it's not a head and shoulders pattern, it's a potential head and shoulders pattern. Let me make that clear, all right? Apple can very much go higher. I mean, you do have a lot of liquid areas towards the upside, all the way towards 250, 255. We talked about this in the last video. But if Apple just so happens to tank for its earnings, and I do have a price target of 206 for Apple, and I'm not saying this is going to happen for earnings. I'm saying more so in the intermediate long term. I do expect Apple to drop towards the low 200s before possibly going crazy because Apple's just not innovative. It's just not providing anything for its consumers. And the only way I think Apple is going to beat its earnings, if that, is a share buyback. That's about it. All right. Unless I don't, they maybe they announce something crazy. I could be wrong. Earnings is 100% gambling. But at the end of the day, I just don't have much for Apple in regards to upside. And so that could be the second thing that causes this drop to happen, if it happens, right? So I just want to bring that to you guys' attention. And so I want to talk about Meta real quick because we're seeing signs across the market that this drop could happen very soon. And so we look at the daily time frame on Meta. And by the way, I talked about this in the community tab. I talked about the spy puts that came in the community tab. Now I can't share the screenshot, or I can't share this in the community tab or on YouTube at all, besides a video, of course, but I can't share the pictures on my community tab because I'm just simply not allowed to. But Meta here, as you guys can see, we have a rising wedge, and Meta did okay for its earnings, right? But then it gave up 700. It went as high as about 710, gave up 700, and so far it's kind of breaking down here, right? It's still outside of this rising wedge, but what do I tell you guys all the time? Usually, when you break out of a rising wedge, at some point you eventually roll over. And interesting enough, on quant data, I believe it was today. It might not have been today, but you look up Meta, and I even mentioned I mentioned this in the Discord. I don't know if I put it in the community tab, but I definitely mentioned it in the Discord. And so you look up the expiration for December. So give me a moment here, and you look up the month of December, December 19th to be exact. And as you guys can see, there are huge bearish spikes with a premium of 6.4 million, and you have 550 puts for Meta. And then I don't know what this one is. I didn't check this one, but let me double check here. Another one, 6.18 million. And here's another one, 550 puts for December 19th. So something to think about here, right? I do imagine if Meta tanks, then, obviously the rest of the market is going to tank as well. So just a few things I want you guys to pay attention to be mindful of, to be careful of. We are already in SPY puts. We do plan on loading up more if the SPY decides to go higher. That gap fill is very much possible. We're already in IWM puts. I let you guys know that already. We got in at around 229, and then we added more today at around 227. Currently in profit on those. So yeah, if you want access to these plays, Discord link is in the description below. Now, being transparent, we did take Microsoft earnings. We got crushed on those. We got destroyed on those. Okay, but they are for March 21st, so we're fine. I think we're fine on those. But yeah, the SPY is pretty much SPY puts, IWM puts are pretty much a hedge to this position anyway. So I think we're fine on that. But yeah, I just wanted to warn you guys. I'm not saying this is going to, this is guaranteed to happen or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. I'm just saying that you want to be cautious. And one thing I will say, this bot in particular is very rare that it's wrong. Okay, it's very rare that it's wrong, at least from the plays that I picked from it. Now, do they happen right away? No, I'm not saying, SPY is going to drop tomorrow. I want to make that clear. February 21st, 2025. So you have plenty of time for this to play out, right? So I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow. I'm not saying this is going to happen next week. So, before the trolls go crazy and come in tomorrow and be like, well, SPY is, it's breaking up to 609. Like, no, obviously it's unrealistic to expect this to happen right away tomorrow. Can it happen tomorrow? Sure. But it's unrealistic to think that way. So I want to make that clear. I wanted to warn you guys. I wanted to get you guys prepared. And that's really all I have. Today, not much happened in the market for me to talk about. SPY just went back and forth between 603, 599, so there was not much to talk about there. Triple Q's, bounced back and forth between, what was it, 522, 521, give or take, all the way down to 519. So again, there was nothing to talk about here. You know, Today was pretty mediocre, anticlimactic. I really expected more from today, but be careful heading into tomorrow. We do have more news tomorrow. After hours, we do have Apple earnings. I imagine if anything could possibly tank the market, it would be that. So be careful, traders. Let me know you guys' thoughts. What can possibly cause this market to, crash or correct all the way towards 570s? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Just keep it respectful as always. And until the next video, traders, have a good one.